Whether you have $10,000 or $10 million, this is what is holding you back from your early retirement goals. And I'm going to tell you this because the reality is it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's what's enough. To some people, $10 million is enough. To other people, it's nowhere near enough. To other people, all they need is $1 million. And some people don't need any because they have a healthy pension or they have rental income. But that definition of what is enough, that's what people talk about with financial independence. It's how much is enough so you can do what you want to do. And so I reframe this for people, and here's why. There's something called the FIRE movement, and if you don't know it, it stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. And I don't subscribe to that movement because it's actually a lot of people that are out there right now working a job, maybe 2 stressful jobs, trying to save as much as possible so that in one day they feel that they can start doing whatever they want to do with their life. It's not a terrible way of looking at life, but a lot of people, their health takes a big toll, their relationships, and they're kind of sacrificing today for this future date. I define it as financial independence recreational employment. Most people don't want to do nothing, they want to do something, they just want it to be fulfilling. So let's bring this back to the point here. What is enough? How much is enough for you to feel that you are absolutely fulfilled in life, both financially and that you are going to be okay for the future? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Most people hear financial independence and think about it like this. It's, do I have enough to be able to say, I'm going to quit this job? I don't care what is happening. I've got enough money that I don't want to work this stressful job. That's what most people think about when they think about financial independence. And I don't disagree with that, by the way. But most people have financial independence, a lot of them, and don't even know it. They have the financial independence to start doing what they want to do, but they don't make that jump. And here's why. The reason for that is because it's easier to push the goalposts back. They ask themselves, how much do I need to retire? And let's pretend that you come to me and you go, Ari, I need $1 million to retire at age 60. And I've got a pension and that covers maybe $30,000 a year and my spouse is still working. And yes, there's different factors here, but to keep it super simple, most people reach out and go, Ari, I think I'm in a good spot, but I just don't know if I can retire. So I'm just going to work 1 more year because I know I said I wanted $1 million, but really, Ari, I'd love to have 1.5. No, I'd love to have 2. Now, once I have 2.5, I am good. I'm retiring. But no, markets are bad this year. So Ari, I'm going to push it back. So many people do that, and it's because it's easier and it's familiar. You maybe have a clear sense of what you want to do in retirement. Maybe you don't. But the reality is financial independence oftentimes is this phrase that we love thinking about because I don't want you to go to work unnecessarily. I want you to go to work because you like going to work. But if I were to tell you, you could take this other position, maybe it pays a whole lot less, but you'd be more fulfilled. Would you do it? Most people would say no, because if I'm making $200,000 over here, what good is $50,000 going to make? And I'll reframe it for them. Maybe it's not $50,000 that's as significant as 200, but if you're enjoying it and prioritizing your health and spending time with family and friends over here, good luck quantifying that for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years on your health. So I want you to think about this a little differently. When you hear enough, I want you to think about it like the following. If you think enough is a dollar amount, you more often than not will fall into this trap. I don't need 1 million, I need 2. I don't need 2, I need 3, and so on. I'm very fortunate that I get to work with people who have retired early, and as the host of the Early Retirement Podcast, this is all I do. I help people retire early. So once again, if this is the content that you're looking for, that resonates with you, pay less in taxes, invest better, and generally learn how to optimize your retirement, you're in the right spot, and make sure to subscribe. So to me, enough has nothing to do with a dollar amount. Enough is truly a mindset. Now I know that can sound woo-woo, don't get me wrong, but here's how I want you to think about it. If the portfolio that you have is always a thing, so $1 million portfolio thing, $2 million portfolio thing, it will never be enough. That's the reality, is you'll always go, why can't I get more out of my portfolio? I'm just going to keep working. Oh, I just don't feel like I ever have enough. I want you out of that. And here's the mindset shift I'm going to invite you to make. There will always be someone with a bigger portfolio, okay? Now, that doesn't mean you can't retire, but I want you to stop thinking about portfolio as this thing and more as a means to create what you want in life. Most of you want to make sure you can send kids to college. Most of you want to go travel. Most of you want to retire early because maybe you have a stressful job. Maybe you're tired of waking up early or going to a job that just doesn't resonate with you. Determine how much you need to be able to do these things. Don't start with how much of a portfolio do you need, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. Ask yourself, you want to go travel? Wonderful. How much does that cost? Really dream big here. Don't be stingy. Don't retire early on paper. Retire early with confidence. That's the ladder, remember. There's 2 people out there, people that retire early and people that retire early with confidence. And you're going to be the second one, okay? And here's what you're going to do. You're going to ask yourself how much you want to spend. $5,000 a month. Wonderful. $10,000 a month. Wonderful. Determine how much you want to spend. Once again, I have my cash flow planner below in the description if you need help to come up with that number. But the reality is once you find that, Layer onto it, travel. Okay, a car you've always dreamt about. Okay, bucket list items, Super Bowl, World Cup, you name it. Add on those layers and really dream big. And don't stop with yourself. Do the same thing for legacy planning. You want to leave $500,000 to a child? Wonderful. You want to leave a home? You want to die with zero? That book, by the way, is wonderful if you haven't read Die with Zero. You want to make sure that you are doing the right things, that you look back and go, I did everything I wanted. Everything I just talked about in the last minute has nothing to do with your portfolio balance. What about insurance? What about long-term care? What about if something happens to you, will your partner be okay? And will your children be okay? And what about future heirs? I just talked about when you're going to retire. I just talked about legacy planning. I just talked a little bit about estate planning. I haven't even talked about tax planning or any of these things yet. I'm keeping it high level. What do you want to spend your time truly doing, and how much will that cost? Nothing about 2 million or 5 million or 10 million. Once you know how much you want to spend on travel, once you know how much you want to send kids to college, once you know how much it's going to cost to buy your dream home, whatever those things are that you want to do, that's when we can start to reverse engineer what portfolio you need. So if you want to spend $100,000, wonderful. I love that. Adjusted for inflation after taxes. But you really want to travel. In the first 10 years, you want to spend $20,000 a year. Awesome. I love that. So now you need $120,000 a year. Let's assume you have $2 million. $2 million can reasonably generate a good amount of income. Well, how much? You can look at different standard withdrawal rates, whether it's 4% or 5%. You can look at all these different rules. But if you were to use a 5% withdrawal rate, which is what I talk about during my podcast, you can understand that would create $100,000 of income. But you need $120,000. So what about other income sources? Maybe your partner's still working part-time. Maybe you're going to work part-time, doing something that you've always dreamt of doing, but just haven't done because the idea of making $50,000 feels so minimal compared to maybe the $300,000 or $400,000 you're making today. Even though on paper, you could do it and be just fine. Other times, all right, well, I'm going to have Social Security. All right, I've got inheritance. All right, I have rental income. Wonderful. So don't think of your portfolio balance as this magic number. Think about what life you want to create and use that to be able to supplement that lifestyle. Here's the overall message. Feeling like you have a portfolio that's 1 million or 2 million or 3 million or 5 million, it will never be enough. That's the reality, because there's always someone who has a bigger portfolio. Maybe it's a neighbor or a coworker, or just that feeling of, do I have enough? And that's what eats most people, and why most people don't retire early. It's, I want to make sure I don't run out of money, and I want to make sure I have enough. And what is enough? How could you possibly know unless you have a plan that tells you how much income you could create with that portfolio? I have clients with $500,000 retired with confidence because they have a very healthy pension. I have other clients with $3 million and it's nowhere near enough. So they go, all right, I want to work 3 more years because I want to spend $20,000 a month. I say, wonderful, I love that. But get clear on what you want that to look like first. Don't start with the opposite. Don't start with, I need $3 million just so I can spend $5,000 a month. Don't start with, I need $5 million so I can spend $5,000 a month. Start with what income sources are going to exist, pension, rental income, and so on. But don't even do that until after you've thought through what you really want out of life. Do you want to travel? How much is it going to cost? Not to just travel a little bit, but luxuriously. You want to go to France and Australia and all these awesome places. I love it. I want you to travel the way you want. I don't want you to be stingy, but I don't want you to go, I hope it works out okay by me spending this amount. And this is the biggest thing I want to leave you with. The goal of working isn't to just work until you retire. It's to actually have something you enjoy doing. So if you don't enjoy what you're doing right now, I'm not saying a planning projection is going to change it overnight. I am saying if you knew you only had to do your current job for 2 more years, some of you might go, all right, I could never do it for 2 more years. But if you knew that was the case, what would it feel like going to work every day? Would you feel a whole lot different? Would it not make that much of a difference? I want to make sure you're going to work doing what you want to do because you enjoy doing it. Too many people, it's, I'm going to work really hard at this job for 5 years, then retire early and be done. I don't want you to do that. I would rather that you go work a job you really enjoy, even if it pays less, because even if you do it for a little longer, you know you're going to be able to do what you want to do. And so what you oftentimes want to do is understand what is enough, and it's 2 million and 5 million. And hopefully you can guess by today's video, that's not the goal, because this will sound dark. If your goal is to just add more money to your portfolio, you will find emptiness. You will find that you are not going to find fulfillment because there will never be a dollar amount that is enough. So you have to start with what do you want life to look like and use your assets to support that. All of that to say, financial independence is not a number. It's not a number. It sounds weird, but it is not a number. It's your values, it's your goals, it's what you want out of life, and how do you use your finances to create that? We have a phrase here at the firm, have your portfolio be the role player, not the entire player, okay? It's there to serve a role. It's not everything. That's not what's the meaning of life. The meaning of life is for you to look back going, I did everything I wanted to do. I retired early to spend 3 more months with children. I retired 1 year earlier because my mom was not in good health and I was able to spend more time with her. I retired 6 months earlier because you get it. So all of this to say, I want you to go retire early, and you're allowed to gloat. The only time I'll let you gloat is if you go retire early for a day or two, but then share this video with someone else who you want to retire early with, because it's fun to gloat. And then you go, hey, I want to travel with friends and family, and I want to do things that hopefully I can do that are a ton of fun, but my friends and family can also do because they have retired early. So I ask, if this video has been helpful at all, please share it with someone. And lastly, if you are looking for a custom strategy, you want to optimize your finances, this is of course what I do. So reach out to myself or another planner here at the firm, and we would love to walk you through our process. You can do so in the description below. You'll see my link on how you can optimize your finances. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you don't know, I am the host of the Early Retirement Podcast, and this is what I love doing. I help people create a custom strategy to retire early. You can always reach out to me or a member of our team here at Root, and we would be happy to walk you through our planning process to show you how we can help you get more life out of your money.